they said, and with they being the the music engine, they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's leave this for the blacks." There are a lot of music genres, but in hip hop and rap, it's known for beef. And I don't want to say like the black genre because jazz was originally black, country was originally black. I
Rock,
mean
blues.
blues, so rock and roll, as you said. So, but it seems like they said, and with they being the the music engine, they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's leave this for the blacks." And so
I
it's
don't
like
think so.
there's always, it's like there's always a beef. It's always, and of course we're gonna dive into the story in itself, but I just want to say this. It's like it's either you or me. There has to be that energy. And I understand like New York, depending on where you grew up, especially I mean, if we go back to the 80s, 90s, not only New York, but are you from LA? Are you from Texas? Where are you from? I mean, it's like an identity thing. But it seems like there's always this edge that you don't see in other genres. And you don't see it in R&B as either. Well, less obvious because there's still some questions as to the shootout that happened at the Drake mansion.
Rick Mansion, yeah. That's
The
R&B.
beat. Yeah.
No, but RJ, I understand your remark. However, one thing you gotta keep into mind: hip hop was created was not a genre that was created in a musician's room. It originated from the streets. It turned into what it is now from the streets. It wasn't created by musicians. It was created by street people who were using, or let's call it abusing, parts of songs to get a groove on. So of course, when you invite people from the streets, you get a different angle to the music.
Yes.
Which is not in jazz or any other music genre that was created. So that's why you have these beefs, because these people are from the streets. It is what it is. I mean,
I agree with you. I agree with you partially. And I'll tell you why. There was the Netflix documentary, right? The history of hip hop. Very interesting. I don't know if it's there on Netflix, but I found it very interesting to see different and there are more documentaries.
I don't watch Netflix documentaries, but okay, continue.
No, but I mean there are a lot more. So you can watch that. You can watch other one. I believe the godfather of rap was hip hop, I believe. Is said to be a man from New York, like a DJ, something like that. But of course, that's also debated. Who is it? Some people will say no, maybe it's the first one who was known, but there were other people doing it, and so on and so forth. It's always been, but these, if you go look back in time, you can find a lot of protest songs because they were protesting.
No,
but then it changed. Because again,
actually
what
it's the other way around.
Go ahead.
It started as party songs.
Yes.
Then it became into during the let's call it. So if you go back all the way back to the original, rapping was being done already in the early days. So rapping isn't something that has always been existing. The version we know that created actually the commercialization of hip hop happened in New York, and it started as grooves for parties. That's how it
Yeah.
started. It wasn't started as we will overcome stuff like that. It was party.
Yes.
What's the and the Furious Five? What's the DJ's name and the Furious Five?
You're gonna look it up
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
because I remember it was a DJ.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. You listen to their songs; they are party. They were one of the early ones. Grandmaster Flash, party songs. It's not let's overcome kind of stuff. And then it branched out into different routes. You had conscious community. You had your Rakim, who was more street. You had your I forgot the one of the early first gangster rappers. I can see his face in front of me. He had this thin beard, but it branched out into different subgenres. So it didn't start as that version of hip hop, which became popular. It started as party songs.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things always people get misconstrued.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, if we go look at the dissing, the gangster rap, prior to the gangster rap, you had the how do you say it? The protesting. So you have time periods where so let's say certain things are popular. For example, now drill is very popular. I don't know for how long, or is it still popular, by the way?
Yeah, still.
Okay, I don't know. You would know. But there are times, there are various periods, and music develops. When you look at the aggressiveness that was, so if I'm talking about like real aggressive songs or tracks, it was protest songs first, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. And didn't that turn into eventually the gangster? Because you're talking about, they're still hip hop party songs, they're still conscious rappers, but I'm asking you, aggressive. Didn't the protest? Because I always understood that it was the protest songs that preceded what we know today as the gangster.
So there are. Try to find his name real quick, but I cannot find it from the top of my head. I can see his face, and he's still alive though. The popularization. That's you gotta distinguish two things. All these genres were gangster rap was already existing. The only thing that happened was at a certain point, labels decided they want to promote this particular subgenre more than others. And that's why it took over and became the most recognized one.
Okay. So my point is, so you can search for names, but my point is this, KR. My point is this. You're saying it always existed, but that wasn't always the identity. So when you talk about hip hop, and if you talk about rap, in different times and different places, it meant different things for other people. Would you agree with that? That it
Cool G rap. Cool G rap.
Would you agree with that, KR?
Again?
What I'm saying is that you're talking about the popularization of gang. I'm saying all of these genres existed in the past. So you're saying they always exist. Okay, now listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in the past, when you say hip hop rap, different people would relate that to different things. So some people might relate, hip hop rap party, hip hop rap conscious, hip hop, rap, gangster. I'm saying, so you're talking about that. Okay, I'm talking about the commercialization. Let's talk about the commercialization. And I'm
Yeah, that's
talking about
95.
like, I'm
95.
talking about, are you saying, did you say 75?
95.
Okay, 95.
Around
Okay.
95 they started. Continue.
Okay, so let's talk about that. At some point, music labels, at least actually throughout the genre, when they started popping off and the more power they got, not only by themselves, but then they affiliate with certain radio stations, and then maybe they buy the radio station and so on and so forth to amplify their reach. They decide what to push and what not to push.
Yes.
And at a point, they decided to start pushing violent tracks over
Yes.
other tracks. Does that mean
Yes.
that the party hip hop and party rap doesn't exist? Of course, they still do. But when we talk about rap today, I didn't grow up in this age, but a lot of people, you still have the conscious rappers, you still have the protesters, you still have all this, but there's a certain type that gets pushed over others, and it's always the more negative one.
Yes.
So it might have always existed, but at certain point, people said we're going to start pushing this. And so what I'm saying is that when you push that in a culture, then people will start conducting themselves as such. Not everyone, but more people would be violent towards each other than, let's say, those who wouldn't be violent towards each other.
What you're saying is I understand what you're trying to say. However, people were violent before that they entered the music scene.
Let me change. Let me put it like this. I can't do this. I can't make this example, but I'll make this example. I'll make this example in a way that will still remain online. But in the past, okay, let me make another example. When they started saying women don't need men, is when coincidentally less marriages took place and more divorces. When they started saying, hey, it's okay to be whatever you want as it relates to your interest, your sexual interest, then the amount of people who relate to different colors of the rainbow appeared. Did these people always exist? Yes, they always did. But when you start promoting it, it will come up to, so let's say if you have a lot of things in your mind, but then that would start coming up to mind and you're like, hey, what am I? What do I like? Etc. etc. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm saying it's the way of the world. So if you promote something more, people will start thinking about it more and start those thoughts will start influencing their decision.